I moved out of my old apartment last year. I had always paid rent on time, kept the place clean, and followed the lease rules. When I left, I expected my $1 in $200 security deposit back. But weeks passed with no word from my landlord, Mr. Bennett. I emailed him politely. He replied, saying there was damage to the apartment. That shocked me. I had photos from move-out day showing everything was spotless. Something felt off. I decided to fight for my money. I didn't know then how far this battle would go. I started by sending a formal demand letter. That's what the tenant rights guide said to do. Mr. Bennett ignored it. A month later, I received a notice. He was taking me to small claims court, claiming over $3,000 in damages beyond the deposit. I was stunned. I knew this wasn't true. Worse, he had submitted photos, but they weren't from my unit. I recognized different paint colors, furniture marks that weren't mine. I realized he was trying to scam the court. I had to prove it. I gathered everything: my move-in and move-out photos, emails, text messages, my lease agreement. I also requested a copy of the court file. When I reviewed Mr. Bennett's evidence, it was clear. Several photos had dates that didn't match my lease period. I also noticed some files had metadata still attached. I knew this could help. My friend Alex, who works in digital marketing, offered to analyze the photos. He found that several were taken before I even moved in. This was real proof of fraud. The court date came. I was nervous but ready. Mr. Bennett acted confident, presenting his fake photos and inflated repair bills. When it was my turn, I calmly explained my side. I showed my clean move-out photos. Then I presented Alex's report on the metadata, proving Mr. Bennett's photos were old and unrelated. The judge seemed surprised. Mr. Bennett tried to argue, but the judge wasn't buying it. The judge ruled in my favor. I was owed my full deposit back. But I wasn't satisfied. I wanted real justice. After court, I did some digging. I found a tenant forum online. I posted about my experience. Within days, 3 other former tenants messaged me. They had almost the exact same story. Mr. Bennett, keeping deposits, using fake damage claims. One person said they'd reported him to the housing authority, but nothing had happened. That gave me an idea. If I could gather enough proof, maybe I could go higher, to the licensing board. Landlords in my state need a property manager's license to legally operate. What if I could get his revoked? I contacted the other tenants and asked if they'd be willing to share their evidence. 2 of them sent me court documents from their own cases. One had even recorded a conversation where Mr. Bennett admitted to always keeping deposits because tenants never fight back. That was gold. I compiled everything into a detailed report: fake photos, metadata, multiple court rulings against him, and the recording. I then researched how to file a complaint with the state's licensing board. The process was tedious, but I was determined. Submitting the complaint took hours. There were forms to fill out, notarized statements to provide, and evidence to upload. I double-checked everything. Once it was sent, I received confirmation. Your complaint has been accepted for review. You will be notified when the investigation begins. Now it was a waiting game. Meanwhile, I stayed in touch with the other tenants. We were in this together. If we succeeded, we could stop Mr. Bennett from scamming anyone else. A few weeks later, I got an email from the state investigator assigned to the case. She asked for additional details and interviewed me over the phone. I walked her through everything: the photos, the court ruling, the tenant statements. She sounded very serious. "This is one of the most blatant patterns of fraud I've seen," she said. That gave me hope. She promised to investigate fully, but warned it could take months. I thanked her and waited. But I wasn't done yet. I continued gathering more evidence. Through the tenant forum, I found 2 more people who had been scammed by Mr. Bennett. One of them still had emails where Mr. Bennett outright threatened to make up damage if they pursued their deposit. We added these to the case file. The investigator was thrilled with the new information. The more patterns we showed, the stronger the case. By now, Mr. Bennett's name was spreading online. More tenants were warning each other. His reputation was starting to crack. Then, one morning, I received a letter from the state board. The investigation into Mr. Bennett's property management license is now in formal proceedings. This was huge. It meant they had found enough to take action. I shared the news with the other tenants. We were cautiously optimistic. A few weeks later, the board held a disciplinary hearing. I wasn't allowed to attend, but I submitted a final statement. The investigator assured me, "Your testimony was critical to this case." Finally, 2 months later, I got the email I'd been waiting for. Mr. Bennett's property management license has been permanently revoked. I read it 3 times to be sure. He could no longer legally manage rentals in the state. I felt such a wave of relief, not just for myself, but for every future tenant who wouldn't fall into his trap. We had done it. We had stopped him. News spread fast. The tenant forum lit up with celebration. Some tenants even posted screenshots of listings that now had to be taken down. Without a license, Mr. Bennett's entire operation was shutting down. One of the former tenants told me they saw him trying to rent out units privately, illegal without a license. They reported it immediately. He was being watched now, closely. I finally received my deposit check. Late, but full. I could have stopped there, but I wanted one more layer of closure. With the other tenants, we contacted a local reporter who covers housing issues. We shared our story and all the evidence. The reporter loved it, a landlord scam brought down by determined tenants. The article went viral. Mr. Bennett's name was now very public. Even if he moved to another state, Google would follow him. Looking back, it still amazes me how far this went. It started with one stolen deposit. It ended with a license revocation and a public expose. I learned so much about tenant rights, about gathering evidence, about the power of community. Most of all, I learned that people like Mr. Bennett count on tenants being too scared or too tired to fight. But when you stand up and fight smart, you can win. Now, I always tell friends, document everything. Take photos, save emails, know your rights, and if someone scams you, don't be afraid to speak up. Landlords like Mr. Bennett thrive on silence. But when tenants work together, they can bring real change. I'm proud we did, and I hope others will too. As for me, I'm happily settled in a new apartment with a great landlord who actually respects tenants. I sleep better knowing that Mr. Bennett can't scam anyone else, at least not here. It took patience, teamwork, and a lot of emails, but in the end, the truth won. And my message to bad landlords? Don't underestimate your tenants. We're smarter and stronger than you think.